Did you know that understanding the difference between community and separate property could be the key to passing the Louisiana Notary Exam? Or that knowing who counts as a person under the law affects everything from inheritance to marriage contracts? These aren't just legal definitions, they're real-world essentials for notaries in Louisiana. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll have a clear, exam-ready grasp of these core concepts that can make or break your notarial knowledge. Hey there, future notaries! Welcome back to Notarized by Cristy, your go-to channel for breaking down the essentials you need to ace the Louisiana Notary Exam. Today we're going to discuss the civil code concepts for notarial practice surrounding of persons, the family, and marriage. This information is crucial because it covers the fundamental legal relationships that impact many notarial acts. Stick around because I'll break it all down into simple terms, so you'll walk away with the confidence to tackle those tricky exam questions. Let's get into it. First, let's talk about persons. The law in Louisiana recognizes two types of persons: natural persons and juridical persons. Natural persons are basically you and me, real, living human beings. Your legal personality begins when you are born alive and ends when you pass away. This is outlined in Civil Code Article 25, where it states the following: natural personality commences from the moment of birth and terminates at death. And yes, even unborn children have rights under certain conditions, as described in Article 26 as follows. An unborn child shall be considered as a natural person for whatever relates to its interests from the moment of conception. If the child is born dead, it shall be considered never to have existed as a person, except for purposes of actions resulting from its wrongful death. This means they only become natural persons if they are born alive. Juridical persons are entities like corporations, LLCs, and partnerships. These are treated as separate entities under the law, distinct from the people who run them. Their legal existence starts when they are created, often through formal acts like incorporation. Remember, understanding these definitions helps us determine who can participate in legal acts, like signing a contract or owning property. Next up is domicile. This is a key term in Louisiana law and is covered by Articles 38 through 45. Take some time to explore and understand these articles in your studies. The articles describe how your domicile is basically your legal home or residence. It's where you plan to return whenever you leave. The law says you can have only one domicile at a time, even if you have multiple residences. This is super important for certain legal actions. For example, changing your domicile involves moving your residence and having the intention to make that new place your home. A sworn declaration of intent can be helpful evidence in proving that change, as described in Article 45. Now let's get into parental authority and tutorship. These concepts come into play when dealing with the rights and responsibilities toward minor children. Parental authority, as explained in Article 23, gives parents the right and duty to care for, discipline, and guide their children. This includes managing their property and acting in their best interest. But when parents are no longer able to do this, say, if they pass away or are otherwise unavailable, tutorship takes over. Tutorship is like a form of guardianship specific to Louisiana, where a tutor is appointed to manage a child's care and property until they reach the age of majority. Understanding this can help when dealing with documents involving minors, like consent forms or property transfers. Next up is a legal overview of marriage. Marriage is more than just a romantic union. It's a legal contract between two people. In Louisiana, this is covered under Articles 86 through 100. I also recommend that you take some time to also explore these articles in detail. The law sets out some key duties for married people, like providing mutual support, fidelity, and assistance, as per Article 98. These are the foundations of the legal obligations that spouses owe to each other. When it comes to legal impediments, Articles 87 through 90 tell us what makes a marriage valid or invalid. For example, you can't marry someone if you're already married. Pretty straightforward, right? That would be an absolutely null marriage under Article 94. And also important to note is Louisiana has something called covenant marriage. This is a special kind of marriage where couples agree to more stringent conditions before they can divorce. It's outlined in Revised Statute Title 9, Section 272, and requires counseling before tying the knot and during any attempts to dissolve the marriage. Understanding these basics will help you handle marriage contracts and related documents, a common task for notaries. Last but not least, let's talk property. One of the trickiest parts of Louisiana law is understanding the difference between community property and separate property. Under the community property regime, all property acquired during the marriage is generally considered community property. That means it's owned equally by both spouses, as per Article 2336. However, Article 2341 defines separate property. This includes anything you owned before getting married, or property you received individually as a gift or inheritance during the marriage. Managing community property often requires the concurrence of both spouses, meaning they both have to agree to certain actions like selling or leasing the property. Review this further within Articles 2347 and 2353. If one spouse acts without the other's approval when required, the action might be considered relatively null. Knowing how these rules work is vital when handling marital property agreements, as they often come up in notarial practice. And there you have it, the basics you need to know regarding persons, the family, and marriage. From understanding the different types of persons and domicile, to parental authority, marriage, and property management. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. And don't forget to drop a comment if you have any questions or need clarification on anything we covered today. Thanks for watching Notarized by Cristy, and until next time, happy studying.